We are now joined by former UFC middleweight champion Chris Weidman. Chris, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
First question will go to Bryson Hester with Cageside Press. Your line is open.
How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. So you're back at middleweight. If you get the win on Saturday night, will you stay in the division, or are you looking to try again at light heavyweight in the future?
If I win, I'm 100% staying at middleweight. I'm not cutting all this weight just for a one-off with Omari. So I win this. I'm looking to stay and fight some of the top-tier guys at middleweight. Reinsert myself into the title picture as quick as possible.
Gotcha. And right along with that, you're 36. So now that you're back in at middleweight for this week, how has the weight cut been coming back down?
Yeah, 36. Thanks for bringing that up. Sometimes I forget. But yeah, the weight cut has actually been very tough getting to the point of like fight week, trying to get my weight to where I'd like it to be. I had a bunch of plateaus during training camp where the weight wasn't coming down, and I had to be super disciplined with food like never before. I used to be able to have cheat meals kind of like over the weekends and stuff like that, and then get back to eating healthy, and I'd make weight at 185, kind of, I wouldn't say no problem, but I'd be fine. I'd get my weight to where I want to on fight week. This time it was, there was definitely some plateaus and there was no cheat meals. It was very, very disciplined eating and training habits.
Right.
But I will say, as far as getting into fight week, my weight is exactly where I want it to be, as far as cutting the water weight out. So I'm in a good spot.
Gotcha. So you had your bout against Jack Hermanson canceled earlier this year because of the pandemic. And I know that New York has had some pretty heavy restrictions in place. So how has your training been affected, if at all?
Yeah, well, New York still they haven't even given us a timeline to where we could have gyms open yet. So it's kind of crazy out there. I did get a bunch of training in New York, but I ended up going out to South Carolina, training at Upstate Karate with Wonderboy and then his team, because they haven't been closed down. And I was able to get like a legitimate camp in, and it was actually good. Being away from the family and just kind of focused on training, not as many distractions. It was a good, nice, focused camp.
Awesome. Appreciate your time, Chris. That's all for me.
All right. Thank you.
We'll go next to Gustavo Faldal with ESPN Brazil. Your line is open.
Hi, Chris. First of all, I'm good. Thank you. Hope you're doing fine as well.
I am.
What's the mindset to get back to winning in the UFC?
The mindset is just to focus, just have good preparation to where I have confidence in myself and believe I did everything right, and then go out there and do what I know I can do.
And Dana White recently said that he doesn't know what to do with Anderson Silva's last two contract fights. Would you be willing to take a trilogy against him to finish off his career? I know you won both of the other ones, but even so,
I just don't see how it's interesting at all. I completely dominated him every single second of every single round that we fought, up until the finishes. So I don't really have an interest in finding a guy that I was able to dominate like that twice.
And are you still looking for a fight against John Jones?
Well, coming off a loss at 205 and a bunch of losses at 85, right now I am not looking for a fight with John Jones. At some point in the future, I'd love to have that, but I gotta make my mark back at 85 again and get on a winning streak here first before I start talking like that.
And the last one from my part, do you still think about the belt? Do you know what you got to do to get back in that belt conversation at middleweight?
Just go out there and be me and dominate. And I think the performance will speak for itself. And then, I don't know how many fights it'll take to get back in that position, but I'm willing to just head right back out there as soon as possible again and prove it once more. So doesn't matter. I'm just I feel healthy. I feel great. I'm confident, and I'd love to get this fight under my belt and then have another one as soon as possible.
Okay, thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
We'll go next to Ezekiel Bergonzi with Super Luchas. Your line is open.
Hey Chris, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Fine, thank you. My question is, what readjustments did you did for this fight? Akhmedov is a strong opponent with a few losses, and he's on a winning streak. So, which is your strategy to face him?
What's my strategy in facing Akhmedov?
Yeah.
Pressure, takedowns, jiu-jitsu, striking, everything. I think I'm the better guy everywhere. He's a dangerous guy. He fights very hard in all positions. But I do feel like I'm a level above him in pretty much every aspect of fighting. So I just gotta go out there and prove it. I'm not expecting it to be easy, but I want to make it. I want to show that there's different levels to this.
And how do you think that winning against Akhmedov will give you a lot of confidence to face maybe a top contender in the middleweight division? And how do you reveal yourself after the loss against Reyes and the previous one? How was that process?
Yeah, well, I mean, this is my first time fighting somebody who's not in the top 5 or top 10 in 9 years. So going against top competition is not something that I need to really like. It's not going to throw me off. I have a lot of experience with that. That's where I belong. So I just get finished with this fight, and I'm taking him very serious, and then we'll see what happens next.
And what do you think about the new fighters in this division, like Vettori, Adesanya, who is, despite that he's the champion, he's a really new competitor in this division. Now Whitaker just beat Till, and Cannonier is kind of back. So how do you analyze this division, and how do you think you can put yourself in there and in this time now? What do you think about that?
Yeah, the division is definitely exciting right now, and I think my fight will speak for itself and put myself, it'll put me right in the mix, of all that pretty quickly. So,
Thank you, and good luck on Saturday.
thank you.
We'll go next to Alistair Bishop. Your line is open.
Chris, how are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic, thank you. Chris, I just wanted to touch on, you mentioned plateauing through your way through through your training camp. What do you attribute that to? Do you think just the miles on the body is just getting a bit harder to get that weight down?
I think, my last time making 85 was 2018. So I had a couple of years of just not really having to keep my body weight that low, and my body's not as accustomed to getting down quick. like it was in the past. So I think that coupled with getting a little older, I think probably slowed it down a little bit as like, how much fat you can get off and how quickly it takes.
Okay. At this point in your career, obviously, I think it's 1-5. Do you feel like your back's against the cage at the moment?
Yeah, I do feel like that. I feel like that all the time, and I'm 1-5 in my last 6 fights, which is something that everybody wants me to say. So there you go. But it's all fights I was right in there with, and they're all top 5 guys in the world. And there's no shame in that, and they're all guys that I was doing really well against up until the time of loss. And other than the Reyes fight, that was he got me. He kind of got me early, so I wasn't able to get as much out of that spot as I'd like to. But that's kind of sometimes how mixed martial arts works. Yeah, so I just know what my potential is, and I did everything right in training, and I'm just going to go out there and put it on the line, and we'll see what happens.
Do you think this sort of matchup stylistically gives you a good opportunity to show your grappling prowess and really just show off your talent?
Yeah, I think so. I think this fight's a great fight for me to showcase my skills. Not taking anything away from Omari, but I think against any of the guys that I fought and I'm going to be fighting, I have that opportunity. But I just really trained really well for this fight, and sacrificed a lot, and I feel better than ever.
Without looking past Omari, obviously, if you could pick up a win on Saturday, where would you see yourself in the division?
I don't know. I think the fight will speak for itself, and I'm going to be right in the mix of things. I'm the top guys. I'll be right in there with the top guys, I think, to where I'll have some big fights offered.
And the last one from me. So, obviously, we mentioned the one win and 5 losses in the last 6 fights. Dealing with adversity, what advice would you give to younger MMA fighters when it comes to dealing with adversity through your career?
Don't let the critics and the doubters and the haters get to you. At the end of the day, it's not always the best fighter that wins, the overall best fighter that wins that night. It's the fighter that was better that night, and that doesn't change your potential and how good you are, So you got to be able to refresh, restart your mindset, and keep your confidence, and just keep training hard.
Fantastic. Thank you, sir. Best of luck.
Thank you.
We'll take our final questions from Sumik Datta with Sports Kita. Line is open.
Chris, hope you're doing well, man.
What's that? Hello.
Hope you're doing well. Hello.
Yes,
Can you
I'm
hear?
doing well. Hello. Hi.
Okay, yeah. So in the lead up to this fight, you said that you're almost in a must-win situation now. Being a former middleweight champion, do you feel that this is the most pressure you've ever felt in your UFC career so far?
No, I've had lots of pressure on me since the beginning, from lots of hype to fighting for multiple championship fights, to coming off of losses and then finding my way to wins. I've had it all, and so for me, it's just another day in the office, man.
So your opponent, Omari Akhmedov, has been around for a while as well. So, but this will be the first time he faces someone of your caliber, someone who's been a champion before. So what are your thoughts on him as a fighter and him as an opponent?
He's a tough guy. He fights hard. He's scrappy. He's he brings it. He definitely he gets tired. He doesn't have he's not severely decorated in any areas, but he brings the fight.
Before this fight, You competed once in the light heavyweight division. So is there a future for Chris Weidman in 205? Or will you be focusing on the middleweight division moving forward?
I'm going to be focusing on the middleweight division moving forward. Even though I got to cut some more weight, I like that. I like eating healthy and training extra hard to keep my weight down. It kind of makes me feel like I'm more ready for a fight. So I see myself staying down here.
Last question from me. So prior to this fight, you were set to fight Jack Hermanson, but that bout got cancelled. Given the result goes your week this weekend, would you be interested in rebooking that fight?
Sure. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. You know, he had a nice W over Gastelum. I got a nice W over Gastelum. We both finished him with submissions. I wouldn't mind that at all.
Thank you so much, and good luck for your fight.
All right,
Thank you
very much, Chris. You're all set.
All right. Thank you.
We are now joined by UFC middleweight Darren Stewart. Darren, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
We'll go first to James Grieshaber with Cage Side Seat MMA. Your line is open. James, your line is open.
James, are you there? T-Burke.
Okay, we'll go next to Gabriel Gonzalez with Cage Side Press.
Hey, Darren, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Perfect. Darren, your last fight was an interesting situation. Can you describe how it worked being on loan to Cage Warriors for one fight?
Every fight of mine's an interesting situation. Yeah, well, it was crazy, you know, because I'm used to the UFC now. So going back to a show I used to fight on, and then on top of that, fighting a day quicker than normal, change of opponent, Corona this, Corona that. Yeah, it was madness. It was a madness.
I mean, I guess you fought for Cage Warriors before, so it's not like it was brand new, but just, I guess the negotiations, like, how did they even bring it up to you? Were they just like, hey, if you want to fight, this is what we can do? And I guess just the work.
I don't have a clue in that situation. My manager said, look, still got the fight on because at the end of the day, I need the money. You know, like I don't work. So it was a thing where I just take it and just fight, get my money, provide for my family, and good job I did because we had like 3 months off and not doing nothing, so couldn't afford that.
We're obviously interested to see some of the fighters from the UK, and we're wondering about the travel situation. Guys like Leon Edwards and all that. Being from there, can you describe the travel situation and just how hard or not is it to get to the US for fights?
It wasn't hard at all. My manager got a waiver signed, which allows us to fly to the States, but the travel's madness. I don't know if it's because of the whole Corona situation, but we have to do connecting flights and 9 hours this, and you got to watch where you step, and you can't be close to that person. And got to wear a mask at all time, and I can't breathe in these things. Even though I'm a dentist, it's mad. Yeah, it's just all nonsense. But yeah, it's crazy. I mean, but getting to the US, not a problem. Because I got the waiver signed, so I can fly, and that was it. Done.
Got it. Final question. Moving back to Pitolo, what does he bring to the table that makes him a dangerous opponent?
What does he bring to the table that makes him a dangerous opponent? Nothing really. I don't really care. I don't give a damn. I'm just gonna go in and do me. I'm not worried about what he does, what he brings to the table.
So do you see this one ending quick for you?
That's it. Ending quick. Yeah, ending quick. First round, second round, first round. I'm just gonna go out there and just do me and just put the pressure on him like mad. I feel like he hasn't fought no one like me. I've been in wars. Look, just look at my face. I've been in war. I've been for everything. Everything you can name, I've been through it. I don't know him that well. I don't know his record. I don't know too much about him, but I don't feel like he's been through wars. I mean, the last fight he had, I think, was against Charles Bird, and Charles Bird was tied that fight. I don't know, and he beat Charles Bird. Couple strikes on the floor, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. Ref jumped in. I beat Charles Bird, one elbow, done. So is what it is. Looking forward to it still. Gonna go and bring the smoke.
Hey, appreciate it, Darren.
We'll go next to Bryson Hester. Your line is open.
Darren, you're looking real good for this fight, and I know it was only on a few weeks' notice. Who have you been working with to get ready for this camp?
I've been working with everyone undercover. I'm not gonna say too much names because during lockdown I should have been training, but I've been doing my thing. You know what I mean? I'm still here looking like a snack, as they call it in the UK. Beautiful. So matter of fact, all it was to do is just get my weight down. I've been training. I've been putting the work in. From when the lockdown started, I think after my last fight, I had a week off. I was forced to because I don't like to have time off. I had a week off and I just been training Zoom, working my conditioning coach, McFarlane training systems, doing Zoom calls, home workouts. Then when it got a bit easy, started doing the jogging. I've been working. Then things got a bit easy. I started grappling in the park. Grappling in the park where around my area on the grass, no mats, no nothing, hardcore stuff. Like no one's stopping me. No one's stopping me.
And with the pandemic and whatnot, if you get a win, you come out relatively unscathed on Saturday. How soon are you looking to get back in the mix? And do you think it'll be an issue to like whether you want to go back to Britain and then come back and try and fight? Do you think that could potentially be an issue? Or
if it goes really well, I'm trying to go straight away. I'm not messing about. I already told my missus before this fight, the quick one, I'm staying out here. I'm going again because it's been funny. Like, most of the American lot been milking it. They've been getting the money in, and I know you see now during this pandemic here, right? We could say, yeah, we want to win this record, that. No, it's about making your money because there's gonna be another wave coming, and you can't do it at all. And some of the Americans have just been milking it, and I'm just sitting in the UK, like in my home, doing a couple bicep curls, thinking, when am I gonna fight as well? Do you know what I mean? I didn't get a call out to go to Abu Dhabi and all that stuff to fight. So I told my missus before I even come out here, I'm staying over there. Like if it goes well, that's it. No arguments. Like I need to milk it in. Now it's about putting on a show, be entertaining, get your money up.
all right, sounds good, sir. Sounds good, sir. Good luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Darren. You're all set.
Sweet. Mr. One Take.
We are now joined by UFC lightweight Nasrat Haqparast. First question goes to Bryson Hester. Your line is open.
Hello? Hello?
Yep.
Can you hear me? Oh,
Yes.
okay. How you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm good. So you haven't fought during the pandemic. How do you think it's going to be fighting with no crowd?
I think it's not gonna make a big difference because while you're fighting, you don't. I don't feel anything. Of course, the crowd has different energy, but I just see it as another fight, and it's just me and my opponent and the cage, and that's it.
Gotcha. So you're welcoming a newcomer to the UFC, and not too long ago, only being 24, you were a newcomer. So what are your impressions on him?
I think everybody who's in the UFC, he deserves to be there. So he's gonna be a good fighter. Everybody's good, Nowadays you don't know what to expect. I just prepare for everybody like it's the last, like the best opponent in my life. It's the last day of my life. It's the fight of my life. So I think everybody's serious. Doesn't matter if you have 1 fight or 10 fights or no fights in the UFC. So I'm very prepared.
Awesome. And what has your situation been like in terms of training during this ongoing pandemic?
We had a very good training camp. We went to Morocco. My friends, Azaita brothers, they're also in the UFC. Otman Azaita and Abu Azaita. They made a very good training camp with high-level fighters: Marco Madsen, Ismail Nordiev, my brother Otman Azaita, Abu Azaita, world-class kickboxers, champion from ONE FC. And we had a very strong group of some jiu-jitsu black belts, some Olympic-level wrestlers, and we had a good few weeks there, and it was an amazing time.
That's all for me. Good luck on your fight on Saturday.
Okay, thank you very much, Nasrat. You're all set.
That's it. Let's go.
We are now joined by UFC lightweight Scott Holtzman. Scott, thank you for joining us.
Hey, glad to be here.
Our first question comes from Gabriel Gonzalez with Cageside Press. Your line is open.
Hey, Scott, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Gabriel, how are you?
Doing pretty good, man. Thanks for asking. This is a big opportunity for you. How do you feel when this guy is coming out and saying he is, quote, extremely disappointed to be fighting you because you're not ranked?
Yeah, I mean, it's, he said that publicly. He said that everywhere. He's campaigning for a top 10 opponent on, on social media, all that. So, I mean, I think we've seen it time and time again, man. You underestimate a guy, you go in there, you look past him, and next thing you know, you get beat. So he's got to face me man to man in there. He's he's got to get in there and pay the piper. So I'm not worried about that one bit, man. It's a fight. I'm confident myself. He's already been up in the rankings. He fell out, and now he's trying to climb back in. But I hadn't seen him beat any ranked opponents lately either. So it's a good matchup.
I mean, they say don't make it personal, don't let the anger or anything cloud your judgment, but is there any extra heat in the training camp because you want to make a statement after he says stuff like that?
No, it's business as usual, man. I always train hard. I always do all the right things. I'm a true professional. I train for each guy just as hard. It's a big opportunity, but I'm prepared for it. I'm ready. Like I said, he's been up there. He's fallen back down. I'm on the way up. I'm trending upward. So it's my time.
I want to ask you about that because in the past you've said, logically you're supposed to try to move up the rankings, but you said you're more of a BMF title kind of guy and a kind of fighter. Can you expand on that idea a little bit for us?
Yeah, I've been in a couple fights where guys just want to grapple. And I mean, I've done it too. So I'm looking for exciting fights. So I want fans at the fights that the fans like. Winning a bonus every now and then is nice too. But turns out here lately, all the exciting fights are up in the top 15. So if that's what I got to do to chase those good fights, if I got to fight those top 15 guys, then so be it. And if I end up being ranked, then fine too. But you don't get paid any extra to fight a guy with a number by his name. So why not make it exciting?
Who would be your ideal opponent for a lightweight BMF belt?
Beneil Dariush on Saturday night.
Great answer. Thank you, Scott.
We'll go next to Bryson Hester. Your line is open. Bryson, your line is open.
How you doing, Scott?
Hey, doing good. How are you, Bryson?
I'm good. So you're fighting the number 14 guy in Beneil Dariush. I know you were talking about how much, rankings don't really matter, but like how does it feel to, you're 10 fights into your UFC career, like, and things are starting to pay off. You're starting to get, like a ranked opponents, like bigger names, like just talk to me how you're feeling. How does that feel to get the recognition?
It feels good. It just feels like I'm starting to validate all the hard work that I put in. I've never cut any corners. I've always trained hard. I've always dedicated my life to it. So it feels good to finally have some validation and also to be buzzing through these contracts and make a little more money. So I'm excited, and I think I belong up there. So I belong up there with the top 15 guys. I believe I'm one of the best in the world. And the people around me do too. And Saturday night, we're out to prove that. I think everybody has to find their way into the rankings somehow. So Saturday night's my chance to prove it and to also kind of introduce myself to the world because he's a fairly well-known guy.
Right. And you've been training at Gym. How long have you been training at Gym O out of Gastonia now?
I've been with the coach, Jeff Jimmo. I've been with him my entire career. He's from Charlotte. He finally decided to open a gym. And when I had a baby 2 years ago, I decided it was better to stay closer to home in Tennessee. So now we've kind of built up a training camp there in Charlotte. We've got Brian Barberina, Impa Kasaganai is fighting Tuesday night on the Contenders. some other Bellator guy. Joe Selecki's come from the contenders. We got a whole group of real good guys, and my coach Jeff Jimmo there is real good. So I've been traveling there for training camp through the week, and then back home on the weekends to see the baby.
Gotcha. So how was traveling out from Charlotte to Vegas? How did that go down for fight week?
It was easy, man. I've made this flight tons of times. I fought here 2-3 times, so real easy. 2 flights. They spaced them out. Didn't have anybody sitting next to me coughing on me, so I passed my COVID test. So that's all that really matters.
All right, and last question for you. Your last fight was one of the best fights of 2020 so far, and coincidentally, Dariush's last fight was one of the best fights of 2020 so far. So how important would you say it is to have a dance partner that's gonna look to bring it on Saturday night?
I don't think that's important. It'd be way easier on me if he just lay down. But I mean, what can everybody know? You know what you're getting with Beneil. You know what you're getting with everybody in the top 15. I think the lightweight division is the toughest division in the entire world. So I think even 1 through 30, I think the number 30 guy, whoever that might be on any given day, could beat anybody in the top 10, on any given day. So we're also good, man. That it doesn't matter, but it's nice to have a good opponent, and obviously the validation when I get that win.
Right. Appreciate you, Scott. Good luck on Saturday.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll go next to Damon Martin with MMAfighting.com. Your line is open.
Scott, I had heard when I talked to Beneil a couple weeks ago, he had said that when Sean Shelby had called and told him about this fight, that you had mentioned Beneil as a potential opponent. Can you kind of give me an idea like how this came together? Did you mention Beneil as an opponent you wanted to face?
Well, there weren't a whole lot of guys available, so we started talking about who's available and who's ahead of me or right around me. There weren't a whole lot of guys, so I just started mentioning names. So Beneil was one of about 5 guys that I mentioned. So yeah, he got mentioned in there.
Regardless of the comments about not getting a top 10 opponent, but at the end of the day, he still took the fight. When some guys we know for a fact don't, they're not interested in fighting a guy who's ranked below them or not in the rankings. Is there a certain level of respect that you have that he did ultimately still take this fight, though?
Yeah, no doubt. He didn't have to take it. I think if he'd have passed on it, nobody would have cared. He'd had to sit out for a little while longer. So, and we're all here to make money too. So yeah, respect to him for taking the fight. He didn't have to. So I appreciate that, but it doesn't mean I owe him anything.
We saw it in his last fight. He got the big knockout, highlight reel knockout and a great performance. But we also know Beneil has a very, very big background in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and grappling. Again, you mentioned you like the exciting fights, and Beneil has traditionally been a pretty exciting guy in his own right. But on that aspect, if he does take it to the ground, if it does become that kind of match, how confident are you matching your ground skills against a guy like Beneil?
Well, I don't want to put on a pair of spats and grapple with him. That'd be silly. And I don't want to put on a wrestling singlet either. But there's some intangibles there in MMA, and I like my odds there. I like my takedown defense. I like my get-ups, but he's no slouch on the ground, man. He's a world champion. He's got all these wins. So it'd be silly for me to just want to grapple with him, but I'm not scared to go there. I've been there before. I've been taken down. I always get up. I've never been submitted. I work my way out. So I'm confident there. And it'll be a little bit of everything. And, from the last fight, he did have a big knockout, but what I saw was he was almost knocked out just before that, and a couple mistakes from the other guy led to that knockout. So, I see a lot of key takeaways that can help me in that knockout.
My last question, that's a great segue to my last question, which is that, if he does want to engage in a bit of a firefight with you, do you feel like that plays right into your hand if he does decide to start throwing bombs? And we saw it in that sequence where the fight ended. They were trading. Obviously, he got a great knockout, and kudos to him. But do you feel like if he invites that kind of fight, that could play right into your hand?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I like to stand up and throw. You've never seen me back down from a fight. I'm in the pocket there. I throw down, man. I'm a old Western gunslinger from Tennessee. So, Yeah, I'd love that. That'd play right into my hands. And the thing about Beneil is he always gets hit. He always gets hit. He gets hit hard. His face is always there to be hit. So he's going to be hit Saturday night. He's going to hit me. I'm going to hit him. That's how I always fight. So we'll see who can stand in there longer.
Thanks, Scott.
Yeah, thanks, David.
All right, thank you very much, Scott. You're all set.
Thanks.
We are now joined by number 11 ranked UFC middleweight contender Omari Akhmedov. Omari, thank you for joining us.
Hello.
First question goes to Jim Varsalone with the Miami Herald. Your line is open.
Thank you. How did the training go at American Top Team because of the COVID-19, the pandemic? Was it any different?
How was training been? Okay, the same.
Yeah, okay. Good, no problem. Okay, so no Russian translate?
No, sorry. Easy.
Is no problem. Good training. A lot of sparring partners. Good camp.
What has it been like? This is the first experience. You're going to be fighting with no crowd, going through all the testing too this week. How has that been going?
No crowd,
No, never. Good, no problem. It's never sick.
How do you feel about two fighters from American Top Team, one in the main event, one in the co-main event? What does that say about the talent at American Top Team?
Your camp?
Yeah. It's American Top Team is number one gym. He's training tough guy. A lot of people is UFC fighter.
That's good. That's good. Hey, do you and Alexei do any training together? Do you, Alexei, help each other at all?
Yeah. I train him. Sometime help I him for him you or for him me. It's good.
And who did you bring with you? Who is part of the team that's with you for this fight?
Is Marco Maluco is a UFC fighter. He helped me. Is a he's not UFC fighter. He's a Titan fighter. I don't know. He's Said Soma. That's it.
Well, are they the ones that are with you now? Are they with you now? I'm wondering who's with you now. Coaches, who did you bring?
Coaches. His Macaron is Parumpa. Marcos de Parumpa. Yeah, and Alexei Oleinik is a fighter, contender series fighter. He's Dagestan guy, Dagestan fighter. It's my friend.
And last one for me, Omari. How do you like South Florida?
Do you like Florida? Yeah. It's a good place. I like beach. I like South. Good. I like.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
We'll go next to Augusto German Nies-Gay with Somos MMA. Your line is open.
Hello, Omari. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Fine, thank you. My first question is, how do you feel about the smaller cage in the Apex Center? Do you like it? Do you prefer the smaller cage?
Hey, no problem. Small. Doesn't matter.
And what about the experience? Because you're going to face Chris Weidman, who really has a lot of experience. Do you think this will be a factor on the fight?
Chris has a lot of fights.
Yeah. He's Chris is good fighter. His big name. Is a good chance for me. Is close title.
Yeah, well, I was thinking to ask you about that. How far do you think a win would get you from a title shot?
So if you beat Chris in the rankings, you.
Maybe after maybe 9, 10. I don't know. Next level.
Okay. And my last question is, what kind of fight do you imagine? Where are going to be the keys for your victory?
How do you win your fight?
Maybe knockout.
Okay. Thank you very much, Omari, and good luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
We'll go next to Ilya Andreev with Sport Express. Your line is open.
Амари, приветствую, Илья Андреев из Спортэкспресса. Слышно меня нормально?
Да, конечно.
Да, отлично. Амари, Уайдман в интервью включил трэш-ток. Я лучше его во всех аспектах, он быстро задыхается, сломая его ментально и физически. Вы интервью перед боем еще не давали, что ему ответите?
Ну, он и в последних своих боях то же самое говорил и также проигрывал. Я не обращаю на его слова внимания вообще. Мне больше всего зацепило, что он сказал, что меня ментально сломает. Не знаю, но вот это мне, как будто, это как бы
сломает меня духом, что ли, это типа такого, по-моему. Ну, этим-то он меня точно не сломает никогда. Так-то он может что угодно говорить. У него берут интервью, он должен что-то по-любому сказать. И он и говорит. Ну, вроде так, ничего плохого не сказал. Там, думаю, бой покажет, да?
А не зацепило, кстати, то, что он сказал, что вас до боя, ну, точнее, до объявления боя о вас не слышал, и что даже менеджер его о вас не слышал, хотя вы, в общем-то, в топ-15 уже достаточно продолжительное время.
Да нет, я же просто не три штуки. Я, может быть, и не слышал, я особо там не разговариваю, там много не говорю. Особо 3 штука нет у меня. Наверное, не слышал, если раз говорит, что не слышал.
У Уайдмана в последних 6 боях 5 поражений. Когда изучали его поединки, к какому выводу пришли? Почему он так сильно сдал? Потому что до этого у него не было поражений вообще.
Я думаю, в любом случае, когда получает титул, любой спортсмен, он начинает уже сдавать. Он уже не так тренируется, как раньше. Уже желание у него пропадает. И когда уже получаешь нокауты, после этого тяжело вообще собраться. Не каждый может там собраться и выйти на ту же колею. Думаю, это повлияло. После Ромеро нокаута, мне кажется, он дал уже позиции.
5 поражений – это технический нокаут. Когда готовились к бою, вы делали упор на работу в стойке?
Нет, я больше боролся в спаррингах, сам боролся и в день борьбы много боролся. Ну, давал больше упор в борьбе, потому что я знаю, что он будет бороться со мной. Он во всех боях своих боролся. Поэтому я чуть упор дал на борьбу. И в стойке, конечно, ну, я думаю, что у меня много борьбы будет с ним, много возни.
Как считаете, вы сможете его с одного удара уронить, учитывая, что ну, так он все-таки падал в последних боях?
Если я ему попаду, он упадет. Если я ему хорошенько попаду.
Джек Хермансон считает, что у Уайдмана лучшая борьба в дивизионе. Как вы оцениваете его борьбу? Вы согласны с Хермансоном в этом плане? Это реально у него лучшая борьба в дивизионе?
Не лучшая, наверное, ну, одна из самых лучших. Ну, здесь зависит, сколько он сможет бороться, там, раунд, 2. Это очень энергозатратное дело бороться. Я думаю, он уже во втором раунде подсядет, если дойдет до второго раунда.
И последний вопрос от меня. А почему вы в маске, кстати? Потому что другие бойцы без масок были, ну, практически все.
Я не знаю, не сказали, оставь, я оставил.
Все понятно. Все, Омари, удачи вам.
Хорошо, спасибо.
Okay, thank you, Omari. You're good to go.
Thank you, thank you.
We are now joined by UFC middleweight Maki Pitolo. Maki, thank you for joining us.
What's up, guys?
Our first question will go to Gabriel Gonzalez with Cageside Press.
My apologies. One moment, please. Pulling that up. Thank you. Maki, hi. How are you? What is the mood going into this fight week with everything going on?
My mood is solid, man. I'm excited to be here again, excited to do work. This is what I love to do. So there's no bad vibes. There is no negative. It's all forward movement.
I read this story. How did you pick Coconut Bombs as your Instagram handle of all the ones that probably popped up?
These bad boys right here.
Say no more. I get that. You've had a fight with no fans. You've had the big fight in a stadium in Australia. Can you say for sure which experience you prefer now that you've had both ends of the spectrum?
I miss the crowd. I miss having the crowd out there. I miss the vibes they give out, the boos, the cheers. When they see action, they're cheering louder and louder, and that's what I miss the most. Going in there and having no crowd, it just kind of feels like another sparring session or it just feels like a big sparring session to me with no crowd. So I really miss the crowd. I wish they were there.
Now, you're obviously at the apex for UFC 250, but it is now officially Contender Series season again with everything going on. Does it add any extra nostalgia to be at the apex during this time for you?
Yeah, it's where I made my it's where I got my contract. It's where I got my first UFC win. So this cage, it means a lot. It's all the cages is home for me, but this one, it means the most because this is where I had my monumental moments.
This may sound odd because you just had that fight, but does the Contender Series fight feel any different from, let's say, UFC 250? Because you're in the same place, because there's hardly anybody there. Is there any different feeling in terms of when you're actually out there in the cage?
Yeah, the Contender Series, I did have the people that mean most to me, my family. The UFC 250, they weren't there, so it felt like it didn't feel right. I always want the people that mean the most to me. I want them there. I want them to see all the hard work that I put in. I want them there, So for them to not be there, it sucks. But I know they'll be there soon.
And then finally, what do you got to watch out for Darren Stewart as an opponent?
He's an aggressive opponent. Likes to lead off with his kicks and his hands, and he loves to do that double leg. So I'm looking to use my footwork, cut angles, and use my boxing in smart ways.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, of course.
We'll go next to Adrian Gallardo with Valvel Brazil. Your line is open.
Hello, Maki. I'm from. My first question is this your most important fight in your career?
It is. After my Charles Bird fight, this is exactly what I wanted going into it. I wanted a bigger guy. I wanted to have a serious opponent that will potentially wake up the middleweight division and let them know that I mean business. A lot of people are thinking that I should bounce back and forth between welterweight and middleweight, but this is where I got my contract. This is where I mean business, and this is where I want to be.
Perfect. Another question is, Darren Stewart is an experienced fighter. What was your preparation for this fight?
I've done my studies. He's a strong opponent. He's a very dangerous guy. And I'm a very dangerous guy. So we're gonna go in there, man. We're dogs. I'm gonna go in there and throw down and do what I do best. Look for the opportunity to finish at every aspect of the game. And I know my confidence and what I've done in this camp will prevail.
Perfect. And last question: what was your preparation in these times with the pandemic?
I'm sorry. What was that, boss?
Yes.
What was my preparation?
Yes.
This time around, I just working on all my weak points that I feel like he could capitalize on me on, and bringing in the right guys to spar and trusting the process most of all. This quarantine back home, it's very serious, and they're not letting guys in you can't have groups more than 10 people, so it's really hard to get the right guys in that you need. But luckily, I'm able to get I was lucky to get the right people in that I needed to complete this camp and feel 110% confident that I'll go in there and get the W.
Thank you, Maki, and good luck for your fight.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'll go next to Bryson Hester. Your line is open.
How you doing?
I'm doing good, boss.
So your last fight was 2 months ago today, actually. How active would you like to stay if everything goes perfect on the 8th? Like, how active would you like to be for the rest of the year?
This is ideal right here. Every couple months, come in and do battle, represent my island. And this is what I love to do, man. I love to compete against the best in the world. This is what gets me up in the morning. This is ideal for me. Every couple of months, come in here and do work and climb the rankings.
And you mentioned after your last fight that middleweight is your division now. Can you speak on how much better you feel during fight week itself without having to cut that extra 15 pounds?
I feel 110% better, man. 170, cutting to 170 was taken away from my health, man. I just didn't feel all there. It didn't feel right for me, and I'm getting older. My man muscles is coming in. So 185 is the perfect spot for me. I feel good. My mind is there. My health is here. I can make weight, not fairly easy, but I make weight, and I'm confident, man. I have the confidence behind it. Going into battle the next day, I feel my rehydration is prime. Back when I was going to 170, it didn't feel all there. Going into the fight, I didn't feel all the way rehydrated and back to normal, you know. So I carry myself a lot better at 185.
And you're pretty early into your UFC career. You were on your last fight, you were on UFC 250, and you were on the prelims, and then now you're in the people's main event slot right under the co-main event. So how are you gaining traction so fast? How's everything come together so well? It seems like.
I feel like I carry myself as a champion, man. All these things, my mouth is bringing to fruition what I want. This is what I want to do. This is where I want to be. I want to climb these ranks. I want to fight the best in the world. And to do that, you gotta speak it. You gotta believe it. And this is exactly what I'm doing.
I appreciate your time, and good luck on Saturday.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Maki. You're all set.
Awesome, guys. Hello.
now joined by number 14 UFC lightweight Beneil Dariush. If you wish to ask a question, please hit the hand icon. Beneil, thank you for joining us.
No problem. Yeah. I'm figuring this out.
First question goes to Adrian Gallardo with Valvel Brazil.
Hello, Beneil. What are your expectations with the fight of the Saturday?
With Scott, you know, he's all around good, and he's just tough. A former hockey player, he's looking to come in here and make a statement. And I'm the guy he steps over to get ranked, and it's not gonna happen. I can't let that happen. I have to go there, and I can't just win. I have to be dominant.
Okay, Holtzman is a tough opponent. What are you thinking about him?
Again, I think he's well-rounded. I think he's physically strong. He looks very physically strong. I think he has a good understanding of distance and just kind of well-rounded in terms of MMA. He can grapple, he can strike, but it seems like he likes striking more.
Last question. You have 4 victories in a row. What do you think if you win the fight of the Saturday is following for you?
It's a good question. I thought I would get someone ranked much higher after my last couple of performances, but honestly, I don't know. I just have to go out there and dominate and hope the UFC notices and I get someone ranked high. I would like to fight in the top 10 and top 5. I think that's where I belong.
Thank you, Beneil, and good luck with your fight.
Thanks.
Okay, you're all set, Beneil. Thank you.
Cool.
Easy.
Easy.
We are now joined by UFC lightweight Alexander Munoz. Alexander, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Our first question goes to Gabriel Gonzalez with Cageside Press. Your line is open.
Hey, Alex. My first question, your season of Contender Series, you got the win in probably the most anticipated main event of that season. Can you just explain, you obviously got all that attention, but not getting the contract and just those emotions that happened?
Yeah, so that was a little tough, not getting the contract. But I went out there, I fought on a torn ACL, and I learned a lot from that fight. I overcame a lot in that fight, and it's something that I've been able to carry with me into my other fights and into my training and my mentality towards fighting. So I knew I'd get another shot to get back in the UFC. I knew that wasn't my last chance. At the end of the day, it wasn't a loss. It was still a win for me. So you just got to keep moving forward. You can't sit and dwell on everything that didn't go right. You got to kind of have a short memory when it comes to that stuff if you want to make it in this sport. and you got to focus on the things that do go right and make sure that that's what dominates your attention.
I mean, after the fight with Nick Newell, can you expand on it a little bit? Just you get back to the gym at home. What were the conversations like to just get back on the bike and then go win that title over in Trinity Kings recently?
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't much to it. You just got to, like I said, you got to put it behind you, and you just got to move forward. It wasn't a loss. If anything, it was more just figuring out, how to come back from that torn ACL. The Nick Newell fight was the last thing on my mind at that point. It was a win. I proved a lot to myself. I fought a very tough opponent on a blown out knee, and I think that for me was, the thing to focus on. And then what do I do to come back from that ACL surgery, a surgery that used to be something that you don't come back from as an athlete, but now with science where it's at, and the surgery has come so far, and you've seen a lot of different athletes come back from this. I just had to take it literally one step at a time, and made a lot of big gains at having to slow down my style. I'm a very explosive fighter. I rely on that, and because of that, I used to get away with a lot of bad techniques. And having the torn ACL kind of forced me to slow things down and really learn how to do things the right way. And then by the time I did get my full strength and full speed back, and now a healthy knee that's, crazy strong, that I believe in and really trust, I'm a more complete fighter because of it.
What kind of fighter can we expect to see? Do you think that you've changed it up? Do you think we're going to see a guy drastically different than the one we saw against Nick last year that I think everyone's familiar with?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Every time you see me, I'm going to be different. Week to week, I'm different. I'm constantly growing. I'm constantly evolving my game. I'm constantly trying to learn all the ins and outs of striking and of the jiu-jitsu and wrestling and wrestling as it applies to MMA. I think that I'm a great wrestler, but I think that I'm a much better MMA wrestler. And I think that where I really shine is when I get to blend everything together, when I get to add in the striking with the shots and the jiu-jitsu. When it all comes together, that's when the magic happens.
Final question. You're fighting a guy who's been in the UFC for a minute in Nasrat. What does this guy bring that you got to watch out for?
Obviously, he's a heavy hitter. And that's what we got to watch out for. We got to move well. We got to watch out for his power. But man, he's a great striker, and that's all I do is I train with great strikers. I'm out at CSA gym with Kieran Fitzgibbons and all of his, Muay Thai world champions and these incredible strikers that I'm training with day in and day out. And I'm at, and then back home we have Michael Malott and Joey Rodriguez, and who are also great striking coaches who have really helped tweak and transform my game so that I can stand with anybody in the UFC. I'm not afraid to stand with. I'm already at Team Alpha Male and at CSA striking with the best strikers in the world. So it's like a lot of people are putting all this emphasis. Oh, you got to go against a great striker. Well, shit, that's what I do every day. So it's nothing new.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you.
We'll go next to Damon Martin with MMA Fighting. Your line is open.
Alex, it's been mentioned, of course, what you did on the Contender Series and then dealing with the ACL and then being on looking for a fight. You've had kind of one of the most untraditional routes to get to the UFC, and then you had the injury that prevented you to fight from February. Can you give me an idea of the emotion and just the anticipation to finally step into that octagon on Saturday night?
Man, well, I got to say, it's been a long time coming. I'm really excited to get in there. One thing that I've gotten much better at is dealing with the emotions, is dealing with the nerves that come along with fighting, is dealing with, all of these mixed feelings that I used to have whenever I fought. Now it's just like, this is what I love to do. I love to fight. I love to beat people up. I love to prove that I'm the greatest, that, the best person in my division and the best person in any room I step into. I try to bring that out and I'm just trying to be the best fighter that I can be. So dealing with these emotions and being able to, and by best fighter, I don't necessarily mean like I'm going in and I'm winning every single day. But like just making small improvements in my game, making sure that I'm coming in and I'm making small gains here and there, and it's coming together to make me a complete fighter. And that dealing with all the stress that comes along with fighting, remembering that this is fun. It's not something that I have to do, and something that I got to kind of. I'm not like I don't drag ass into the gym. It's not something like, oh, I got to grind through this workout. I wake up and I'm excited to train. I'm thinking, all right, I get to go to the gym and I get to hang out with my friends, and we get to play around and play with new ideas and be creative and open up and do new things. And I have training partners that I trust, and at the end of practice, we get to give each other feedback, and I'm getting feedback. And a big reason that I went to Team Alpha Male and CSA Gym is not only because of the coaching, and it's not only because of Uriah Faber, who is a big part of the reason I went there, but it's because of the training partners that I get, the minds I get to work with every day. I get just as much knowledge from them as I do from my coaches. So I think that just being able to be around these guys and take what I can from their experiences has really helped. And then I've been active. I haven't just been sitting around waiting for my next fight. I'm training every single day. I'm doing something to work and get closer to my goals. And then I'm also cornering guys in the UFC. I'm cornering guys in Bellator. I'm cornering guys in this organization. Like I'm constantly on the move and doing things. So when I am at these UFC events, I'm not just getting these guys ready, but I'm also getting myself ready. I'm visualizing myself in their shoes when they do their media, when they take their pictures, when they are getting warmed up in the back, when they're making their walkout. I'm doing everything I can to make sure they're ready, but also at the same time, I'm visualizing myself there in their position. So I'm getting those reps and I'm getting that experience that I think is going to translate to the big picture, which is fighting on Saturday night.
Absolutely. You mentioned, of course, the anticipation, the build of getting here, but going back to your Nick Newell fight, I mean, going into that fight, you knew the attention that was going to be paid on that fight, and you went out and had a great performance that night and won. This is your UFC debut, and we hear all the time about octagon jitters and the nerves and things like that. But do you feel like, having gone through that Contender Series experience where there were a lot of eyeballs on that fight, it wasn't in the UFC, but it felt like a UFC fight. Do you feel like that will help you, when you get that first time into the cage, that first exchange? Because we have heard a million times where guys do get nervous in that first fight.
Yeah, absolutely. You can never guess exactly how you're going to feel on fight night. But what I can tell you is every single time I fight, I'm dealing with the nerves better. I'm feeling more comfortable. Even my last fight, whenever, I try to make my fight day as close as I can to my spar days. And on my spar days, when we're sparring in the gym, we're sparring hard against really, really tough fighters. I'm in there with Josh Emmett. I'm in there with Andre Fili. I'm in there with Gaston Bolaños and Eddie Absolo, and these guys who are the best of the best at the top of their game. And I'm not stressed out before I go fight them. We're laughing, we're having fun, we're enjoying ourselves, and then I go out and we spar hard, and it's fun. I have fun while I'm doing it. So I try to replicate that on fight night. I bring my coaches that I love to be around. I got Mike Malott here with me. I got Uriah Faber here with me. I got Kieran Fitzgibbons here with me. And it's always a joy to be around them in the gym, and it's always a joy to be around them when I'm cutting my weight and when we get to the arena and when we're moving around backstage. I just try to really make it as close to that spar day feel as I can on fight night. So when I get there, even my last fight, for instance, when my opponent's music came on, usually that's like a trigger, like, oh, my nerves start going. His music came on and I started like vibing to it and moving and like just feeling really good and happy and excited. And it wasn't so much like this nervous tension that I would expect to feel. And I think that shows a lot of growth as far as, where I'm at mentally now versus where I was when I started this game.
And my last question, you mentioned, of course, training out at Team Alpha Male, a phenomenal team out there in Sacramento, but Uriah Faber being one of your coaches. I've heard from a lot of guys, Andre Feely's a big one, of course, talked about what an influence Uriah has been on his career and as a coach and as a friend. So as you get ready to make your debut, he's going to be in your corner. What has been Uriah's influence on you, and what maybe has been his best advice, maybe leading into this fight or as you debut in the UFC, because this is the moment where you kind of start that next phase of your career.
Yeah, so as far as Uriah goes, I didn't just come to Team Alpha Male because Uriah is a great fighter. Obviously, he's a great mind to have in my corner as far as MMA experience. There's really nobody that you can trust more. He's had almost 50 fights in the UFC, or period. But what I really liked about Uriah is the fact that he isn't just a fighter. He's found a way to really grow and grow himself and his brand outside of MMA. He's great at marketing himself. He's great at making money and having multiple revenues of income. And just from a fighting standpoint, from a business standpoint, from life standpoint, how to deal with the people around you and the people you love and the people you care about. He's just a great source of knowledge for all of that stuff. So that's a big reason. That's honestly one of the very main reasons that I came to Team Alpha Male, was so I could pick his brain. And I wasn't expecting him to take such a big role in my life, but he's kind of one of those guys that the more you're around him, like his energy's contagious, and he's become one of my best friends. And now, I'm able to learn from him, not only as athlete, but kind of as a brother, and I feel like we're family now. So it's great to have that in the mix with my team.
Awesome. Thanks, Alex.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Alex. You're all good to go.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
We are now joined by the number 4 ranked UFC heavyweight Derrick Lewis. Derrick, thanks for joining us today. Our first question goes to Augusto German-Nies-Gay with Somos MMA. Your line is open.
Hi, Derrick. How are you?
Terrible. How you doing?
Fine, thank you. Cool mask, by the way. I like it.
Thank you.
Derrick, your last fight was in February when this COVID-19 situation wasn't so big, at least inside the UFC. I mean, there weren't all these procedures and tests before the fight. So how are you living this atypical fight week?
You say that one more time?
Yeah, I was asking, how are you living this atypical fight week?
Living?
How's this fight week compared to the other?
This fight week I'm usually in the room anyway, so it really doesn't matter. I'm always in the room during fight week. I really don't associate with people outside of my camp. So it's really just another fight week to me.
And what do you do to kill time in your room?
To kill time, I just talk to my family, my kids, or I just watch Netflix.
Cool. Did all the pandemic context affect your preparation for this fight?
Not at all. It really just helped me actually. I brought a bicycle and I've been cycling a lot early in the morning, like doing 20 miles a day. So it really helped me a lot.
And my final question is, what kind of fight do you imagine for Saturday? Where are going to be the keys for your victory?
I think you'll see something you haven't seen from me in a long time inside the octagon, that I'm going to come out balls blazing.
Okay, thank you very much, Luis, and good luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
We'll go next to Gustavo Faldon with ESPN Brazil. Your line is open.
Hi, Derrick. How's it going?
Terrible.
Why terrible?
At least you care. The other guy didn't care. At least you asked him. No, I've just seen if you care about me. That's all.
Okay. After your last fight, Derrick, you said that you had a health problem. It was a matter of like life and death. Can you share with us what was that and how are you feeling? Are you feeling healthy right now or not?
I'm feeling a lot better now. I really can't talk about the health problem still, but I'm feeling a lot better now. I haven't had any issues with that problem.
But can you keep fighting without any problems or?
Yes, I could continue fighting. I went to the doctors numerous of times, different doctors, and they all told me that it's fine. It's a normal thing that happens with guys my size. That's all.
But you're not at life risk anymore, or are you still?
I'm not at life-threatening risk anymore, no.
Okay, and what can we expect from you from this fight on Saturday?
Something crazy, something different. You'll see something different from me that you haven't seen before. That's all.
So, but what can you say? You're gonna go like to different strategy? You're gonna go for a knockout? You're gonna go to the ground game?
I'm just going to be more active. It'll be more active for myself instead of just being patient and waiting the last 10 seconds of the fight. I'm going to be more active this fight. That's all.
Okay. Thanks, Derrick.
Thank you.
We'll go next to Jim Barcelone with the Miami Herald. Your line is open.
Yeah, thank you. I'm curious what your thoughts of this fight and in essence of the main event, ESPN Plus. Yeah, there's no crowd. You got a really great opponent, very experienced himself. Just what are your thoughts? Can you relish in the moment, or that doesn't happen until afterwards?
I don't care about the moment at all. I'm not in it to be famous. I'm not in it to please the crowd and stuff like that. I'm in it just to take care of my family. I don't care if there's fans there or not. I'm not doing it for the fans. I'm doing it for my family.
And you talked about your preparation. Just how much did you go back and look at any of his fights, or did your coaches do that, or that's something you don't really too much worry about?
I went back and looked at his recent fight, with Werdum.
I went back and watched that fight, and he looked pretty good in that fight. And so hopefully that he'll fight me the same way.
How do you feel where you are right now in your career? And what is this fight? Where does this fight take you to?
This fight right here takes me to a new level. You know, I'm feeling completely different fight week than I have in the past, and I feel like I'm just getting better. And I'm really want to show the fans and show everyone that I have got better.
And how is testing and all that been going and just dealing with that process?
Testing been good. You know, I haven't had any negative, positive tests, so everything been pretty good.
And also, I read this, I hope it's right anyway. You were going to be boxing or did box, and you were under the tutelage of George Foreman. Is that accurate? And if so, what has George meant to you?
Yeah, that was like years ago. Yeah, I was training to be a boxer first with George, but I felt like MMA was more for my type of style, and so I just went ahead and stuck with MMA. And George, he's a good guy. You know, he reminded me more of my grandfather whenever I met him. You know, that's about it.
All right, and then last for me too, I'm just curious with you being in the Houston area or fighting out of Houston. I know there's a famous pro wrestler, Booker T, that does a lot in the Houston area. And I'm just curious if you ever met him, and if even later on down the road, if pro wrestling is something that might be in your works.
Yeah, if I'll do pro wrestling, if they pay me pretty good, I'll do it. But I'm not about to do it for no $5,000, $10,000 or nothing like that. But yeah, I met Booker T. He's a great guy. You know, I've been on his show a couple of times as well as podcast.
Yeah, he's really good. Good guy. All right, listen, hey, all the best on the big fight, and thank you.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
We'll go next to Alistair Bishop. Your line is open.
How many we got?
Derek, how are you, sir?
I'm all right. How you doing?
I'm fantastic. Thank you. Thank you for caring as well.
Yeah.
My first question, you mentioned just now that you were going to come out balls blazing. Do you think that in your last two performances, you've been a bit trigger shy?
Yes, I've been trigger shy. It's just that I'm coming in. I was a new creature those fights. You know, different type of body coming into the octagon, feeling different, lighter, feeling faster, and just wanted to test it out. And now that I tested out full force and going all 3 rounds in my last 2 fights, and like I feel like I'm more comfortable that I could really let loose in the first round and not gas out. So that's what I plan on doing Saturday.
And do you think with a marquee sort of win or a big statement win, you can start to climb your way back up to that title contention?
It doesn't really. It really don't even have to be a dominant performance. You know, just a win will keep me in line. You know, because Francis and the dude Blaze, they might get a title shot before me. You know, so and we'll just see how everything goes from there. You know, I'm not really focusing on the title.
Just going back to the statement of balls blazing. I mean, we all know the famous post-fight speech. Have you since found a cure for your hot balls and how to deal with them?
Not yet. I'll probably go to Russia after this and see how cold it is out there. I think it's winter time out there in Russia, isn't it?
I think it's always winter in Russia.
Okay, I'll see how if my ball's still hot after this fight in Russia.
You mentioned you mentioned George Foreman there. What sort of role would you say a guy like George Foreman played on your career as a young guy?
It was just a brief. I really didn't know George like that. It was just a brief, like in and out of the gym type of moment. You know, I talked to him a little bit, and that was it. And I was really dealing mostly with his manager.
Okay. And the last one from me, obviously, Alexei, we know, has some freakishly good submissions. The only guy ever to submit you was DC. Does that give you confidence in the fact that you have the ability to keep the fight where you want it?
Not really. You know, I've been in crazy type of training matches as well, you know. And I know pretty much good jujitsu and how to get out of crazy stuff. And the situation with DC was just one of those moments that I should never took my time trying to get up. I gotta explode. If I'm gonna give my opponent my back like that, I gotta explode. Can't just take my time. And it was the reasons why they ended up like that.
Fantastic. Thank you, sir. Best of luck.
Thank you.
We'll go next to Gabriel Gonzalez with Cage Side Press. Your line is open.
Gabriel Gonzaga.
No, not quite, but I get that a lot.
Oh, okay. I'm about to say, I thought you were about to talk shit to me then.
Not at all. I'm way better looking, man. Derrick, how you doing? Are you feeling better now that you got a few interviews in?
No, not really. I'm really getting aggravated the longer the interview is going, you know, because I was watching Family Guy in my room. That messed me up.
All right, I'll make it quick. Going back to the balls being hot, I saw that fans are posting your cameos and they're asking you to say that. What other crazy stuff do they ask you to do on Cameo?
I hated doing Cameo, by the way. And even I started hiking the price up and they still was trying to get me to do cameos. And like I really had to change my number just because of Cameo. The craziest thing they asked me to do was take my shorts off. Actually, it was an older man wanted me to take my shorts off. I think it was a fetish of his, so I went ahead and did it anyway. So that's probably the craziest.
How much did he offer to pay you?
He did $100. You know, I didn't mind. It was pretty. It was fun that time. You know.
Everyone's talking about you looking fit, man. I gotta know, what do you order at Popeyes to keep getting slim as the Black Beast?
I haven't ate at Popeyes in a while. You know, my family eat it, but I really don't eat. But whenever I do, I get about 4-piece chicken strip, spicy, biscuit, fries, and red soda.
Awesome. There's a lot of stuff going on at heavyweight. They're about to fight for the title. People talking about maybe John Jones coming up. As a guy who's right there in the mix, what are you looking forward to most seeing as a fan?
As a fan of who?
Or just as a fan of the sport in your division, what do you want to see happen?
I'm not a fan of the sport. I'm not a fan in the division either. I'm just doing this as a job. So I really don't care who wins. I don't really care who's coming up to fight who and who want to fight me. I don't care. So I fight anyone. So it doesn't matter who they are.
Roger that. My final question, you had a guy in your division, Curtis Blades, saying the UFC is protecting you from him. What is your response to that guy?
I don't understand what he's talking about. This would be my 20th UFC fight in the octagon. I fought all the tough guys in the octagon. And he just coming up on the radar. And I don't even know how many fights that guy had anyways in the UFC for him to talk about they protecting me. I already fought just about everybody in the top 10. The only guy I didn't fight is I believe is Overeem and him. And I've been asked to fight Curtis and Overeem. Overeem turned me down like 3 times this past month before Oleinik or whatever his name is had popped up. And I asked for Blaze. If you don't believe me, ask Mick.
Gotcha. Well, Derrick, appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of Family Guy, man.
Thank you.
We'll go next to Yaroslav Stepanov with Sport 24. Your line is open.
Hello, Derrick. My first question. When you made the first fight in MMA, Alexei had 49 fights. And does that impress you or is it nothing special?
What? Say it one more time.
When you made the first fight in MMA, Alexei had 49 fights in MMA. And does that impress you or is it nothing special?
It's nothing special. That's good for him that he had 49 fights when I made my debut. That's great. He's been fighting, he's 43 now? 42?
Yeah, 43.
And he's still fighting, so that's pretty good. That's really motivation that if everything is not going good in my financial situation, that I could still be fighting in my 40 when I'm 43, and so I'm looking forward to it if everything don't goes right, you know.
And in 1996, Alexei made the first fight in MMA. You were 11 years old at the time. And do you remember what you did at that age and at that time?
Yeah, 11 years old. I was getting my ass whooped by my mama around that time. So I wasn't even thinking about no MMA. I was just thinking about some help. Like telling my mom I'm sorry for being bad at school. That was about it. I wasn't
And
even thinking about no MMA.
Abraham Kava is your manager. He was also the manager of Alexei, and Alexei said that he stopped working with him. Did this situation affect you in any way? Maybe you have discussed this, Kava, about this.
Oh no, it didn't affect me at all. I didn't care. It doesn't matter who managed who. You know, it's the manager's not in there that's going to be fighting. So I don't really care. I just found out that they was managing him. So I don't know. I don't know what happened between them.
And my final question, what happened to the food container you spat in?
Alexia got it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
No problem, no problem. I got more if you want some too, if you ask them.
We'll go next to Julian Kiewicz with Independent Media. Your line is open.
Hi, Derek. How are you, brother?
Hey, how you doing?
All right, I won't keep you too long. I know you're in a hurry. I just want to know from you, has it been tough being away from your family in this pandemic, and has it affected your mental capacity in terms of just preparing, thinking of your kids more in the time?
Say that last part again.
I just want to know, has it been extra tough for you preparing for this fight in terms of being in the pandemic and obviously thinking of your kids also at home?
Oh, not at all. I come in every fight just about the same mentality. Just kill or be killed. And I'm go out there and just fight hard as I can. You know, I mean, now that I'm in way better shape, that I could really believe that I could finish him in the first round, and go out there and like push the pace in the first round and get him out of there.
And just tell me your ritual before getting, like, leaving the hotel. Are you going to give your kids maybe a video call or chat to them on the phone and just see what's up before you're heading to the fight?
Yeah. No, say that one more time.
I mean, in term before you head off from the hotel room to the octagon, or would you be calling your kids and just doing a video call, chatting with them? What is it like with your kids? Do you have a ritual speaking to them before the fight?
Oh yeah, they do that every time. Every fight, I always video my kids. They always say, "Good luck, Daddy. Hope you win your fight," and stuff like that. They say the same thing over and over like robots. You know, so it always give me a little motivation. Because if I lose, they'd still talk crap about me. Even if I win, my kids will talk crap about me before the Russian trolls get in my DMs and start speaking their language, talking crap about me too. So
So you say the banter runs in the family?
What's that?
You say the banter runs in the family, eh?
The
banter runs in the family.
Yeah, it runs in the family. They crazy.
Thanks for your time, brother. God bless.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Derek. You're all set.
Thanks.
As a reminder, we will be joined shortly by UFC middleweight Kevin Holland. If you wish to ask a question, please press the hand icon. Thank you. We are now joined by UFC middleweight Kevin Holland. Kevin, thank you for joining us today.
Oh, no, thank you.
Our first question goes to Adrian Gallardo with Valve Brazil. Your line is open.
Hello, Kevin. My first question is, what are you thinking about this fight? The fight the last week was cancelled for sadly the train problem.
Yeah, so I feel really, really good about the fight this week. I mean, I was ready last week, so guess I'm double ready this week. And the fight not going through last week, yeah, I mean, things happen, man. You know, it is what it is.
Have you had time to see some videos about your new rival this week?
Have you time to see videos of the new opponent?
Yes, I've seen videos on the new point. I was actually upstairs watching them right before I got on Call of Duty. So yeah, it was pretty cool. Nice guy.
And the last question, yes. And the last question is, what are you thinking about your rival? And that's.
Can you repeat that one more time?
Sorry. What are your thoughts about your new rival?
About my new opponent, or?
Yes. About your new rival.
I mean, no big thoughts about him. I mean, you know, happy he's made it to the UFC. I mean, congratulations to him. I definitely look forward to, you know, flooring him with the right hand. And if I don't floor him with the right hand, I definitely look forward to testing out, you know, my new black belt skills. So we'll see how it goes.
Thank you, Kevin, and good luck.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
All right, and you're gonna get 3 from me.
All right.
All right, so you always say, you know, let's go Bucko, and now this guy's nickname is, and so what is is that kind of funny for you that he's
Yeah.
kind of right in line with that?
Yeah. I mean, I guess I've been calling for this guy for a really long time, right? So I've been saying let's go Bucko for a long time. I guess I've been saying it wrong. I should have been saying let's go Buckley. So let's go Buckley. Let's do our thing.
Was it a little bit weird for you to just go through the same fight protocols in the hotel and COVID testing everything back to back? And I know you did Jacksonville as well. So kind of now that you've gone through more times than anyone, how do you feel about the whole process?
I feel good about it. Honestly, I like it. I mean, me personally, I think it's good. You know what I mean? This is what we're dealing with right now. I think they do a phenomenal job of making sure we're safe and making sure we abide by the rules. And I mean, COVID test up the nose, not too fun. COVID test down the throat, just hope you don't choke. It's not too bad either. So, you know what I mean? Either way, I mean, I like it. I love to fight. Whatever it takes to fight, I'm down for it.
You've earned a reputation, of being this guy that wants to fight everyone and so quick to turn around. You try to do it in Jacksonville, and then you try to call a night of a fight after, obviously you don't want that to happen to Trevin, but now you kind of built this reputation. Is that something you always have wanted as a fighter?
Yeah, I mean, one of my favorite fighters, like just because like his persona and the way he steps up and the way he just always comes through, and like, I mean, dude's an adventurer, you know what I mean? Dude has fun. It's Cowboy Cerrone, you know what I mean? He's the GOAT at stepping up and taking fights. So it's like I always figure like, that's the type of fighter you're supposed to be, you know what I mean? Anywhere, anytime, any place, step up, fight, doesn't matter who it is. I mean, if you're scared, you should probably find a different profession. So it's like, yeah, that being said, it's like I love stepping up and taking fights. It doesn't matter who it is, where it is. Look, I did a video. Well, Thiago Santos was doing a video yesterday, and I popped up. He had some Brazilian funk going on. That thing was fly. It sounded really good. And Thiago Santos is a great guy. You know what I mean? The more I see him, the more I'm like, dang, it's not that bad that you lost to that guy. He's a good guy, with the distance with John Jones. That being said, if they need somebody to step up and fight Thiago Santos on 2 hours notice, I'm there. You know what I mean? And it's like, I don't care who it is. I like to fight. You know what I mean? It's what I do.
Not only are you stepping up, but you also have a good record in the UFC, and you're someone that people have their eye on. Do you think winning these short notice fights and being this guy also helps you create more value for yourself and a better brand for yourself going forward?
Yeah, for sure. I read an article like in the beginning of like the COVID time, and they were like, like a fighter to watch out for that's not ranked was me. And just because I'm willing to step up and take fights at any time, you know what I mean? And to me, I think that's, it's great. I like hearing stuff like that. So I think it's been great for the brand. I think it's been great for me. I think it's been great overall just to step up and be like, I'm down. You know what I mean? And for all those other guys who complain and cry about they should get more of this or more of that, fight more. You'll get more.
Perfect. That's all good. That's good for me. You guys good? Double checking. Okay.
All right. Thank you very much, Kevin. You're all set.
Sweet. Thank you, guys.
This concludes today's UFC Fight Night on ESPN Plus Lewis vs. Oleinik Virtual Media Day. Video recordings will be sent out later today. As a reminder, UFC Fight Night on ESPN Plus Lewis vs. Oleinik takes place Saturday, August 8th from the UFC Apex facility in Las Vegas and will be available exclusively in the US on ESPN Plus. Thank you for joining, and you may disconnect.